Next up is purpose. A very common thing to see on watch forums is people buying very expensive watches and then complaining that they got scratched or dinged up and not knowing what to do. A lot of people seem to think you can just keep polishing a watch and nothing bad will happen. But the reality is every time you polish a watch, you remove metal, which is a big problem, especially in the vintage Rolex market, where you have lugs that are razor sharp because they've been polished to death. One thing that I would advise someone who's considering buying a watch, especially one that's particularly expensive, is to be honest with themselves as to whether they are going to use it. If you take something like an Explorer 2 here, this is a watch that has a very durable, reliable movement. This is a watch that has a reputation of being there for everyday use. So if you're going to wear it, it's going to get scratched, it's going to get dinged, it might even get chipped, and that's okay. You need to accept that. If you don't, then you really need to ask yourself, are you buying it as an investment that you're going to keep in the safe, which I guess, it's your money, it's just as valid as anything else, but it just seems to be such a common thing. I mean, perhaps a bunch of people are trolling on the forums, but I see it's happened so often where people are genuinely surprised that their expensive watch is going to get scratched up. My advice is, if you're going to do this, to ask yourself, are you comfortable with your watch getting scratched up and dinged up? If you're not, you really have to ask yourself if there is any sense in buying something so expensive when something cheaper might make you feel more comfortable wearing it every day. And it's just one of those things. The watches are going to get scratched up and beat up sometimes. And, it doesn't make it any less of a functional watch.